Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Wall. And for those of you that are new here, I started doing the show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, really brain injury. Also to provide a platform for all survivors to share their journeys from literally across the world. And also bring on experts in brain health so they can share their knowledge with us to learn more about the brain because it is very complicated. Um, someone is on here. Let's see. Here I am again. So this morning, my guest is Angelia Abouhassan. I don't know. She'll hopefully correct me if I butchered it, but that's just how it goes. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel called Let's Talk Stroke, please do and hit the notification button. Then you'll know when the show goes live. Also, this show is live on LinkedIn, uh, Twitter, YouTube, several Facebook pages. So please subscribe. And also, um, we'll get to learn more about the Lady Project and some things that Angelia will talk about. And she'll talk about her stroke journey as well. Anyway, let's just welcome her on and we'll get to know her. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You sharing your story, and I love your background.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's just start. Who was Angelia before, before the stroke and whatever else was going on in your life? So, stuff you want to talk about, stuff you don't want to talk about,
The floor is open.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully
Welcome. It's so good to see some of you people here. My name is Angelia Abouhassan. I am a trauma and stroke survivor. Before the stroke, let's start actually all of this with calming our nerves before we get into this big story. So
Perfect.
Whoever wants to join me, let's just kind of put our feet on the ground and maybe put our hands on top of our legs, just kind of palms down and feel in. Am I having technical issues? It just said something
It
technical.
was there just a few seconds ago, just a little frozen, but no worries. We're all good.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay, we're going to start this off with just a little bit of breath this morning, just to kind of calm the nerves a little bit. Feet on the ground if you're able to. If not, that's okay. Just stay comfortable where you're at and put your hands palm down on your lap and maybe gently close the eyes a little bit. And notice how you're feeling right now. Notice how you're showing up in this moment. Notice any tightness or tension in the body. And I'm going to ask you to empty your body out completely of all the air you have. And we're going to take 3 nice big breaths in through the nose, and we're going to let that out through the mouth. So empty the body out and breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let that drop that mouth open and let it out. And let's do that again. And maybe one more time. Give your body a little gentle wiggle. And let's go ahead and start this off. Now that I got your attention and maybe you've shifted into a little bit more of a place of awareness, I'm going to share a story of experience and of recovery, of how I found a path of repair. So the stroke I experienced happened in 2019. It was actually February of 2019. This is my 6th year anniversary month. So I am setting with much appreciation for this opportunity to speak to you all. Um, Before the stroke, I was a busy mom, and that was consuming a lot of my life. I was a busy wife, and I was just trying to manage a household and manage my own health care. I was already showing signs of like deteriorative issues and immunity issues in my body. And I was perpetually visiting doctors, not just medical doctors, but also therapists to help. I was in a bit of a depression before all of this even happened. And it was 2019. And I had entered into trauma therapy for experiences that I had as a child and growing up. And I had grown up in some pretty challenging circumstances through abandonment of my drug addicted mother and adoption, and then further trauma patterns that presented once I got into my adopted family. No fault of any of these people at all, because I believe these patterns kind of were existing way before they even came around. And these patterns have been, passed down ancestrally through the lineage of life. And I find that that's common whenever you're dealing with a heavy load, a toxic load of trauma. So before the stroke, I was kind of in a place of being heavily
Wow.
stressed and triggered, and I didn't really understand how it was affecting my body at all. Especially with things like the Me Too movement going on, and that particular movement, as beautiful as it is to see people being able to express their truth, it is also for people who have unhealed trauma in that area. It becomes a source of trigger. And I had entered this trauma therapy again, which I had done many times through my life, looking for answers and maybe some resolve with the contention and the dis-ease that was happening inside of my body, brain, and heart. And I was probably about 4 months into this trauma therapy, learning a lot and still feeling quite stuck in patterns in my brain and body that I didn't understand how to get out of. And that's when the
How old
stroke
are you?
happened. I moved into this house, which is a bi-level house, which is really funny to me at this point, because this home, after we moved here, I was here for about a month and a half, and then all this happened, and I suddenly was faced with not just the challenge of living, but the challenge of how to even maneuver around a home that was structurally
Yeah.
complicated for me. Um, I experienced the stroke, like I said, February 29th of 2019, and woke up in the ICU. I had an aneurysm, and they were able to clear it out, minor surgery and intervention. And I went to rehab after about 9, 10 days in the ICU. I was in the rehab for a few months, and then I wanted to come home. They at that point didn't really think me going home was the best idea, but I wasn't hearing any of it.
I bet.
Honestly, after I got home, the depression kind of ate me up,
Yeah.
and I fell into some really dark spots along this path. And I had lost everything on my right side. Um, the stroke was in my left side of my brain, so it affected my entire right side, which is my primary side.
Yeah.
So I felt like, I remember talking to all the physicians and the neurologists and explaining to them, it feels like I've been reverted to infancy with a 44-year-old brain connected to it, and my brain wasn't really working side to side very well, which I'm sure everybody is very familiar with in this room. And I sat there for probably a good year and a half, 2 years, being utterly depressed, swinging in and out of very dark moments of suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And I was just overwhelmed with the pattern of sadness and anger that was in me. And I didn't really have the ability to have clear cognitive processing for a really long time. So I had decided at some point in this, because I had structural issues with my toes had kind of curled up. My foot got really weird, like we all experience for the most part. And so I had some unwinding to do with that, with medical intervention. And I had a few surgeries on my foot in the beginning just to get the toes to lay out a little bit so I could bear weight on that side of my body.
That was like that. Yeah.
Yes, they had all contracted in and up underneath my foot pad.
Yeah.
So that feedback loop that is organic and natural from our feet wasn't happening at all anymore because of where the feet were. So sometimes feeling like transplant experiment gone wrong, right?
Yeah.
Right, Stephen. I can completely relate. And depression is absolutely no fun, Marina.
Yeah.
I completely agree. It was the darkest moment I've ever experienced in my life.
Not fun, right?
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lynette, thank you for sharing this. But yeah, it's definitely not fun time to go through. Do you ever get like that still? Like for me, if I'm sitting around doing nothing, weird things happen in my head, thinking the worst.
Right. Well, we're going to get into that
Yeah.
for sure. I really work hard. I know a lot of you guys watch my videos and see what I'm doing, and I work really hard at trying to keep the balance in my body in a certain place. I still have moments where I get triggered. I still have moments where emotion can be overwhelming, but today I have tools.
Yeah.
And I have gotten to the place in my life where this path is non-negotiable to me. It's non-negotiable to me to sit in a place of depression anymore. I feel like I understand the physical body a little differently today, and I know how to befriend that. And that has been a very long journey, a very long journey. I had a friend a long time ago talk about the journey from the head to the heart, and how that 16 inches between your head and your heart tends to be the longest journey that you ever navigate.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. So all of that was happening, and I got invited into this trauma yoga class. And I kind of chuckled whenever my therapist invited me into this, because I thought, I can't even move. I'm like, I still couldn't move.
I know that feeling.
And she just looked at me and she was like, if you can breathe, you can do this. And I said, okay, let's give it a go. So I started showing up to this. Mind you, I was about 2 years in, and I really didn't have very good vision on my right side at all. Like, I had nothing. It felt like somebody had taken a Sharpie and just markered right over my eye. I couldn't really see very much at all. I had a little light. And I started this trauma therapy or trauma yoga, started to learn how to breathe because I couldn't do anything else. And it was astounding. And I got scared. I got nervous because my body was in a high state of activation because it
Yeah.
was living in a place it had never lived before. And I didn't understand this body anymore. And it scared me. It
Yeah.
scared me deeply. And so I was really stuck in this state of fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it was preventing, it was adding resistance into my body, my brain, even healing or weaving it a way back together. So I
Hmm.
did this breath work in this class. I started it after about 3 weeks to a month. I started noticing that my vision was beginning to change.
Hmm.
And I even sat with this quietly for another month because I was really thinking that it wasn't going to last. And it did. The next month I sat there and I was just astounded. I thought, this is unbelievable. All I've been doing in this class is breathing. I couldn't really move very well at all still. I was so fatigued and the classes were in the evening. And so it made it like even harder to attend because by 2 o'clock in the afternoon or noon after PT, I was kaput,
You're out.
you know, the
Yeah.
rest of the
Yeah.
day back then. And I don't know. I just started seeing these differences. I went to the doctor and I had them check my vision. Astoundingly, my vision is better than it was before I even had the stroke.
Wow.
And I decided at that point that I was going to do everything I could to learn breath work. And I started diving into it and I started diving into yoga and I started practicing. And, you know, in the beginning, when I jumped on this boat 4 years ago, it looked very small. It was 10 minutes of practice because that was really all I could withstand.
Wow.
And I could lay and I could breathe with my body for longer periods of time, but any body movement was always so exhausting. The
Yeah. I
fatigue
know.
was really heavy. And since my vision came back, I dove into school. I went back to school.
Did you? Oh,
I I partially completed a functional nutrition program. And I did that originally because I wanted to learn how to use food as medicine. I knew that that was going to be a big part of doing this. I started learning how what breath was and what it would do for the body and what actually was going on inside of my body so I could kind of separate the layers of our body in a way that and organize it in a way that it was more functional in my body. I knew that I was still having a lot of problems with the resistance because my body was so exhausted and so fatigued. And I was always one of those people that, you know, you go, 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 you do,
right.
right? And it's easy to move into those spaces of go, go, go and do,
Right.
and disconnect from the way that you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
And once I started learning really what was happening in my body, that my nervous system, due to this, you know, enormous amount of trauma that I went through,
Yeah.
had altered and it had actually shifted where the comfort was more in a sympathetic state rather than a parasympathetic state. You know, you have two branches of your nervous system. And well, I believe, yeah. And you got your sympathetic and you got your parasympathetic. And your sympathetic is that primitive part inside of our body that kind of tells us, you know, when you get those icky feelings in your belly or the air stands up on your arms, the danger is close.
Yeah. And just looking at you, I mean, you're moving your hands so well. And I've seen your videos or which is great. I mean, you're walking really well. I see you doing balance things. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people still have balance issues. And
Yes. Yes.
you know,
Balance is still a complicated subject in my world too.
right.
You know, I have I still contend with fatigue, and I still contend with the imbalances that life can bring.
Yeah.
Life is stressful. It
Yeah.
is. And I find that learning and understanding the input that happens in the nervous system and that can kind of wire itself into our bodies, because even if you don't remember, your body remembers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And because of that, like learning that we breathe to stay alive, right? That's the first thing we do when we're born,
Right.
right? And as we get older, the patterns of our breath change because we're kind of not connected into how that breath is moving in and out of our body 100% of the time. It's an automatic function that our body does.
Right. Right.
But when our patterns, or when our bodies experience stress, I guess is how I want to say this, our breath changes
Yeah.
automatically. This is an organic thing that just happens. It tightens up inside of your body, and that tension, that tightness that occurs, decreases the pattern of breath,
Right.
that
Right.
pace of breath inside the body. And by simply decreasing that breath, it can keep you stuck in those spots of stress. And those patterns of stress just will continue to ring through your body, where you are just overthinking, or your brain just starts to flip on the critical trigger and starts talking all kinds of nonsense to you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, some of the best things that I've done on this journey is repattern the way that I communicate with myself.
Right. Do you go to any kind of therapy still? I mean, you're dabbling, going back to, I don't want to bring it back up, but trauma therapy, or just therapy in its, in itself. Like,
Do
because
I? Do I?
yeah,
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
and it's okay, because a lot of people in the beginning, even like me, I didn't want to ask for help. I was more embarrassed but then I got over that, and asking for help is great.
That's the one thing that I see, and a lot of these groups that I participate in and talk to people in is, this fear of being a burden
Yeah.
on people, or on our families, or on society. And I went through a lot of that too. And that really fed my depression for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think collectively, we are here in this together.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
my goal is to create the togetherness, to create the idea that if we spend collective time together, you know, doing something that is going to help rebalance the body, that's going to help reset the nervous system, that energy shift inside of your wiring,
Yeah.
inside of your patterns that you have, shifts over into this beautiful parasympathetic place, and your body can feel more ease. It can feel more at peace, and it can feel more balanced. And when you are in a place like that, it changes your sleep,
Oh,
it
yeah.
changes your skin, it changes your blood pressure, it changes the way your body is used to chemically producing, like
Yeah.
those patterns I was talking about. That
Mhm.
pattern of breath is what starts us in life, and it's what ends us in
Yeah.
life. And
Right.
once I learned about how powerful the breath was, I couldn't help. I had to dive into becoming more knowledgeable about this. And
Right.
eventually I wound up getting my certification. I'm also in the midst of getting my yoga 200 hour teacher training certification as well, currently, and I have completed a trauma practitioner certification along this path.
Wow.
Because these things became like they had to be put on a list of non-negotiables.
Right.
So I did start working when I got the opportunity to go to that functional nutrition school.
Right.
I was blessed with the gift of connecting with some beautiful women. And I started working with this amazing woman. Her name is Karina Hines. And she has a business called Botanical Kitchen. Her things get put out amongst some of these communities and within the Breath Lady Project community. If you're interested in checking her out too. She came in and helped me understand how to support the healing body in a place of nutrition. So I changed the nutrition. I took out dairy, I took out gluten, I took out sugar for the most part.
Oh yeah.
I still
Yeah.
struggle with that.
You totally changed your diet. You've totally changed the way you eat. I hate to say
Totally.
diet, but yeah, we
I
change.
had to.
Yeah.
You know, I really had to. And I added some supplemental support with protein powder and vitamin E and making sure I get ample vitamin D and my vitamin Bs, you know, to support. And then I also learned about practicing or supplementing my magnesium levels.
Now, you
And
really did
how
your
supportive
research.
magnesium is for the healing body, the healing
Right.
brain, and muscles. Your muscles trying to heal along this journey, they need the extra support. And I dove into doing years and years of physical therapy, and I also did something called dry needling, which was very powerful. I tell a
Oh,
lot of people about this. It's similar to acupuncture, but a little different because they use electrical stimulation and attached to the needles, and they drive the electrical currents into your body.
you still do that?
That's how I was able to get all this movement back, was through that and the variety of other things that I do.
Wow.
I can't speak enough, though, about how important it is to move into a place where you are empowered
Yeah.
to take some of your healing into your own lap and work with things that are free, that
Yeah.
are attached to you, like your breath. So if you're a mouth breather, mouth breathing has absolutely no benefit to any healing journey. And honestly, the mouth doesn't have a filter. And if you're breathing through your mouth on the regular, I suggest you come take one of my classes.
How often do you do your?
Bonus.
How
I'm
often do you
sorry.
do it? How often do you do your classes?
Okay, we meet once a week on Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. This
Okay.
is a free class for the stroke community. I do ask for donations if the class is helpful for you and if you're able. Like, I don't expect anything, anybody to, if that doesn't have it, to donate. This is a free class for everybody because I look at this like, it took me decades to understand the patterns that were existing in my body after growing up.
Mm.
And those patterns, had I had understood them sooner, who knows? You know, I
Yeah.
don't travel down those roads very often. I sit in the place of gratitude because I'm just so grateful that I was gifted the ability to learn this knowledge. I was
Yeah.
gifted the eyesight in return. I was gifted some body mobility in return. And I am working really hard on just honoring these gifts that have been presented in my path. I no
Right.
longer sit in a place of angst or anger at this experience. I'm actually very grateful
Yeah.
that
So
I
yeah, a
had
lot
the
of
stroke.
people, yeah, a lot of people say, and me too. I say that a lot of people are thankful. I don't know how to say it the right way, but thankful they had the stroke or feel like they have a better life after stroke because it taught them to, appreciate things more. I don't know.
Yes. It gave me definitely a perspective change. And I feel like understanding how to work with my body using the natural resources like nature and
Yeah.
sunlight and our breath, our prana, our spirit to work with the nervous system, the complicated and intricate nervous system that we have that runs all through the whole body.
Yeah.
And teach my body a sense of safety again. Because
Right.
when the stroke happened, I immediately felt so unsafe
Ah,
completely. I couldn't even move my body to the bathroom. I didn't even know when I was going to the bathroom, and let
totally
alone
understand.
feed myself or be a mother or a wife or any of those things.
Yeah. Now,
So
is your right side still? I mean, you feel tingling, or do you have any issues with your right side anymore, or
I
you feel
do. Yes, I do. And I understand that I will be in a place of healing for the rest of my life.
it? Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's evolution. That's kind of the process that we are, I think, all going through, whether we had a stroke or not.
Yeah.
So I think that if if I can sit in a place and look at this experience as a learning lesson and take advantage of the lessons that I have learned from this
Right.
and
Right.
share in the communities in a way that is very profound. It's incredibly impactful. And, it's funny. I talk to people sometimes and they will tell me, oh, when I talk to them about breathing and practicing yoga and things, and they're like, oh, well, I just don't do those things. And it just makes me chuckle because I'm kind of like, okay, hold on. You don't breathe? Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
are you not breathing and still living?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand exactly. But
Right,
yeah, you're
right.
doing a great job with all this stuff.
The breath is the pattern setter, and being able to really influence that pattern is by nasal breathing and engaging the diaphragm.
Yeah.
So if any of you are interested in coming and learning about what we're doing on the Friday, in the Friday nervous system reset class, please reach out to me and I would love to have you come take a class. It would be such an amazing experience. Come with an open mind and
Yeah.
be ready to practice.
Yeah. It's funny because as we talked with it yesterday, I went into a yoga class. It was wheelchair because she was in a wheelchair, but she did the yoga class. She was certified too, and yoga, just sitting there breathing all that. I was actually exhausted. People don't understand if you haven't done it. I was completely exhausted with all this. But so it's nice. And how would they get a hold of you to, because I know a lot of people, um, uh, if you're going to friend request you, or how do they find you? I mean, how would they find you the easiest way?
You can look me up under the Breath Lady Project. There's a Facebook page and there is a group, or you could just look up my name and I can direct you from there. Just send me a message, friend request, and a message, and I'd be happy to help you out if you
That
guys
would be good.
are
Yeah.
interested in checking out what I'm doing. Today, I really focus a lot of my energy on managing the symptoms I still deal with. I deal with some tone, still.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
still dealing with activation issues. I have a muscle in my calf that is really stubborn and tends to give me some issues from time to time, especially if my stress levels are a little elevated in my body. I
Yeah.
definitely still see those neuro deficiencies that can arise.
Right.
But I have to tell you all, this works.
Yeah.
It really helps whenever you teach your body how to be safe inside of it. You're the only one that's ever going to live inside that body.
Right.
It's your home,
Yeah.
and in my home, I want peace. So, and that's what I feel like the breath has really, it's brought a sense of peace. And, I'm not really a religious person, but I am a very spiritual person. I believe in God wholeheartedly. And this entire journey, I believe, has opened up uh, an avenue to God that I've never experienced before.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel very blessed to have that kind of a relationship with God. I feel very blessed to have the ability to have that kind of relationship with Angie.
Yeah.
Uh, and another thing, and not even really another thing, but the way you communicate with yourself, the way you eat, the way you choose to empower your healing has so much to do the with how you're going to heal. When you're in a mind that is critically thinking and overwhelming the body with very negative thoughts or ideas or storylines,
Right.
those storylines are heard by every single cell you have inside of your body, because those cells are listening, just
Yeah.
like your ears are listening,
Yeah.
you
Very
know?
good.
So rewiring it's a layering, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh
And
yeah.
that layering is about reconnecting you to you.
Yeah. Very true. And this is you see John's comment here at the bottom where stroke has given us
Mm,
most of us a completely different
yes.
perspective. Yeah. I mean, John, you actually that's good. John, I'm proud of you. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. He comes up with some good ones.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, he
So yeah,
is.
I mean, so I'm really happy that you're on the show to share your knowledge with that. And I don't want to mess things up here, but let's see if I can bring this up here. The Breath Lady Project.
There it is.
That's it.
Mhm. Yes. So if you see that picture, you know you're in the right spot. And before, if you don't mind, before we cut out of here, I'd like
Yes.
to take a minute and actually run us through a little breath practice. Is that
Yeah.
okay with you, Jerry?
Absolutely. I'll put you full screen, but I do it when I'm back here. But also, there were a lot of people. I don't say a lot of people that came in late, which is totally fine. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I'd love to see what you. Is it similar to what we just did? If not, that's okay. Um, whatever you can do, it all helps. So
Definitely. We're going to do a little diaphragmatic breathing. And what we're going to do, I'm going to scooch my chair back a little bit here
okay.
so you can see my body. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of sit where we're at, no moving. You don't have to worry about moving your body. If you're laying down, if you're sitting, seated, I ask that if you're standing, don't practice this. I ask you to find a comfortable seat if you're able to. If not, just watch and maybe practice it at another time or come join us in our class. Because when you start changing the patterns of your breath, it is very common for the breath to start expelling some types of symptoms, like your body can start to feel a little tingly sometimes, or maybe even your head can feel a little dizzy. So that's why I ask you to sit or lay down. Don't practice breathing driving or while you're standing. So we're just going to kind of take a little glance around the room and just feel into the space that you're in. Notice the seat underneath your body. Notice how comfortable your body is, how secure it is. And maybe put a little smile at the corner of those lips, because I am so grateful that you are all here to join me in this practice today. And let's bring a little gratitude into this space. We're going to put our hands on our abdomen, right at our belly button. That's about where you're going to start to feel the diaphragm engaging. So as you're breathing, if you're feeling more up here, you're functioning in a dysfunctional pattern. We want the breath to really engage that diaphragm that sits right at the bottom, or the belly button, sits right at the, like underneath the lungs. And it expands down into the organs, into your digestion. It helps keep things moving in the body. So let's put our hands on our belly button and empty out the body of all the air that you have in your body. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And let's breathe in 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And keep all the breath in the nose. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in and out. And in and out. And in. And as you continue in this pattern that you're setting in your body, I want you to drop your shoulders. I want you to unclench your jaw. I want you to keep your mouth closed and all of the movement from in your body moving in through the nose and out through the nose. And just begin to relax the forehead. Noticing the rhythm of your body as you are inhaling in, that hand at the belly button, and as you are exhaling out. So relaxing the eyes, relaxing the cheeks, relaxing the lips and the jaw, keeping the mouth closed, separating the teeth, and placing the tongue at the roof, at the ridge of the roof of the mouth. And stay in this pattern. We're going to relax the shoulders again, dropping them down. Relax the lungs. Relax your heart. And as we sit in this space at our heart, maybe take your hand from your belly and place it up over your heart chakra, over your heart space. A little curve at the corner of those lips one more time. And we're going to remind our heart that we know this healing path is full of challenges. But today I am showing up with energy that I can work with. I am showing up with energy that can unblock all of the resistance in my body and open up a connective, compassionate, and safe space for my healing to progress in. Repeating to yourself, I love my body, no matter what my body shows up like. I am healing. I am healing. I am healing. And let's go ahead and empty the body out, no matter where you're at in your breath pattern. And inhale in as deep as your body will let you, and grab it and hold. 2, 3, 4. Drop the mouth open and just let that all fall out. And we're going to repeat that one more time. Once you got it emptied, inhale in as deep as the body will let you, and hold, 4, and then drop the mouth open and let that all fall out. And then we're going to do one more nice inhale in. Inhale this all the way up. And when you're all the way up, try to grab a couple more sips of air. Grab it and hold. And just sit in this hold. 2, 3, 4. Drop that mouth open and get audible. Go, ah. Let that all out. And maybe give your body a little wiggle. Hand to the heart center. I thank you all for sharing in this space with me today. I thank you for being open-minded and practicing, and for honoring the journey of healing after stroke.
Yeah, that was awesome. I feel relaxed.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate all these comments. It's really pretty darn awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Let's read some of them, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, wow. We got a lot, don't we?
Oh, yeah, they're good. Nice to see you. Yes.
Oh,
well, nice to see everybody. But yeah.
It's so nice to see all of you. Oh, Kelly, hi. Hi, everybody. Stephen, you do need to get back to breath class.
Stephen. Yeah, James, you're right there. Bring it up. Mindset is a great 5 to 10 minute. I like it.
Did she? I think Serena was asking if I'm diabetic. I am not. And I asked that for a while too, because of how the symptoms were portraying in my body, how they were communicating with me. That was way at the bottom. I just wanted to answer that.
Yes,
I like sleeping.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's some great ones.
Sleeping is such a big necessity on this journey, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I know for my own path, I really condemned sleeping. I thought sleeping was like the worst thing ever. And I, honestly, like I always thought like I was being lazy or I wasn't working hard enough. But the truth is that your body and brain took a major
Yeah,
impact.
it needs to heal.
Yeah, and the only way it's going to heal is through ample rest.
Yeah,
And when
absolutely.
you're shaming yourself in that place, how are you able to rest? Right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, reframing the way that you communicate with yourself, the way that you support your healing, the way that you enhance that connectivity to return, to foster that connectivity back into your world.
Oh,
Because your
absolutely.
body really is your world,
Right.
you
Absolutely.
know?
So, wow. I mean, I really appreciate this. So, what? Any other last? Here a couple things. Yeah. Uh, okay. What last words would you say to somebody that's going through a very, they're newbies or going through a difficult time? What would you say as maybe a final thought? Because you know how you were,
Mm,
how I was, the
yeah.
passion,
Try to be patient with
yeah,
yourself. And I know that's a really big ask
yeah,
whenever you're overnight changed,
yeah.
and I got to tell you, get some sunlight, drink water, drink lots of water, look
I,
at your nutrition, look
yeah,
at the pattern of breathing that you foster on the regular. Look at how you're sleeping. These things have really fallen into a place of non-negotiable options.
yeah.
And without sleep, the body doesn't rest.
Yeah, no
Without the
healing.
proper nutrition to heal the body will not heal. And without a healthy breath pattern, you will stay in a state of fight or flight. And healing when your body is stressed, is activated in a stress state, is really, really impossible. It's really hard.
Yes, absolutely.
So come
Yeah.
take my breath practice. Come join us.
Tomorrow, tomorrow at 11 a.m. East Coast time. So, um,
Yes,
yeah. So
definitely.
I appreciate you guys being here, and I really appreciate you too. I appreciate everybody. Hate to, but yeah, thank
I
you.
see Stephen mentioned, I felt guilty for sleeping so much.
Yeah, I
Boy,
saw that.
isn't that the truth? I did too. I felt like I wasn't able to be there for the people I loved anymore, and honestly, it really had to become more about, okay, how can I show up for me?
Yeah,
That way I can show up for others.
right, right. So true.
So, yeah, I do relate to that so much. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming and sharing in this.
yeah, yeah. It was great. Yeah, thank you once again, yours, and we'll definitely be doing this again.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
would love to.
yeah,
Jerry, we
absolutely.
should have a breath practice.
I know. We'll do a show just on your brand. We can all learn, which is, it is very important. You proved it today in the beginning and at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
I need to do more of that and drink more water. I'm so guilty of that, but
Right? I know. I've noticed as I have been able to stream into the busyness that I've
yeah,
grown, that my neglect can be there
yeah,
sometimes for my own self-care.
right.
So
Yeah,
I really have to pay attention to those things that are just so important.
yeah,
And our bodies are kind of electric and water.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we're supporting those systems, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this has been awesome. And Stephen, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Such nice comments. I really appreciate it. And welcome, uh, Angela.
Yes. Yeah. I can go by Angie. I go by Angelia.
Perfect. Whatever you want to
Yeah.
call me, I understand.
I'm so good with it.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, take
Yeah.
care, everyone. I appreciate you being here, and we will chat again. We'll see you on Tuesday next week. Take care.
Happy healing.
Yes.